What's going on, everybody? It's your host with the quotes, JB the Oracle, back again for another episode of Match My Smoke, the podcast. And we got a great guest today. We got serial entrepreneur, CEO of WakeNVape, Victoria Williams, here today. Let's give her a round of applause. Victoria, what's going on?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me and happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. It's been a great month thus far. We thank you for taking this time to interview with us. We was looking forward to this interview. Now, on this show, we get right into it. We get right into the questions, right into some things that people may want to hear. Um, so, can you share a little bit about your company, the year you started, and what's your company all about?
All right, so this particular company, we have Wake and Vape, Wake and Puff, and Wake and Take. This company started in 2024. We launched June 19th of 2024, Wake and Vape, the vape line for the culture. It was inspired by women for women. We are a woman operated company. And the reason it was created was to create a safe space for women to consume cannabis, to be educated, to learn about microdosing cannabis, and to find comfort in so many things that cannabis is utilized for.
Okay. And you brought it up. So, as a woman, what's some of the things that has been, competitive and just highly um, regulated in the industry, and what barriers did you have to overcome so far?
The biggest barrier is having access to capital, and it's been access and credibility because you have to prove yourself to be in this space. Having access to capital, that's a given for any business. It's even harder being a woman trying to get into the big boy league.
And
Women have to prove themselves. Black women have to often prove themselves twice as much. And that's what I face challenges in manufacturing, partnerships, funding, and being taken seriously as a founder. But I've overcome them by staying consistent, learning the regulations deeply, and building a brand that speaks for itself.
and that's definitely commendable. We know it's not easy in the industry. Regardless, access to capital has probably been the number one barrier for so many companies. And then, you know, what was the original vision for Wake and Vape, and how has it evolved?
So technically, Wake and Vape supposed to have been a baked vape because there was an infuser who was operational on in Chicago, and they had baked in their company name, but they didn't have any baked goods or anything that actually matched the name. So when I came up with the vape line, it was supposed to be baked vape, and it ended up evolving to Wake and Vape because I wanted to do a line of the products with the Wake name on there.
And we always commended you on the colors and just the whole branding. And was it in the initial mission to pivot your brand towards like women and moms and things like that? Or what did you see the vision as far as branding and marketing early on?
Early on, it was about women empowerment. It was very important to uplift and encourage women on a day to day, and that's why the bright colors. It was designed for women. Men eventually started liking our brand, which is nice. And it was about creating something a premium vape line. I wanted it to be a luxury premium vape line, and it felt intentional. That felt intentional. So every detail inside of the packaging were words of affirmation. On the bottom of our hard candy, words of affirmations. Be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best that you can. Those things were to uplift people. The vision is now about a legacy brand that represents excellence, wellness, and Black ownership in Illinois cannabis. Because all we hear is negative things in Illinois cannabis, and there are some positive things people should know. People should know that there are some Black brands that are thriving in this space, that are representing this space. And so that's where we're evolving to now, is saying, hello, we are here. There's several of us in this space.
And let's talk about leadership a little bit. What leadership principles guide on the way you run your company?
Number one, integrity.
Mm.
Number two, accountability. And number three, vision. I believe in doing things the right way. So many people do things to be popular, but I do things because I want to stay compliant, professional, and sustainable. And that's very, very important. Relationships matter in this space. And I believe in leading with empathy. My team and community, they actually matter to me. The people who support this brand, they actually matter to me. They're not just a dollar sign to me. And that's why I take my time when it comes to building this brand, is because I'm very personable about building that relationship.
And you just kind of piggyback right into my next question is how do you build brand loyalty in a market that's just really becoming increasingly oversaturated?
Now that's hard. um you gotta build loyal you gotta build your brand loyalty through trust, consistency, and connections. You know, people, you have to be a person of your word. You know, a lot of people make fake promises, and people remember how your brand makes them feel. When you show up in dispensaries, when you educate bud tenders, when you engage directly with customers, that's really your trademark, because people always remember how a person made them feel. And then we delivering quality every time. And loyalty comes when customers know you're real, reliable, and different. I think Wake and Vape fans and I love the people who are a fan of this brand, because they know that I am a real person who came from a real neighborhood, was born and raised right here. And we created a brand for them.
And right now, tell us about expansion. Have you guys expanded into other territories yet? And if so, let us know where.
All right, so we have a few things on the table right now. We're getting ready to do a licensing deal in New Jersey, and that's where you will actually see our brand in New Jersey. We are licensing a brand. Um, and we also have a couple of other things that's going on as far as white labeling in Arizona. We got a few exciting things. It's really nice to see how people love the work that I put into the brand, that they want to bring us into states. So we have a few offers on the table. One contract that we just finished revising. You know, it's a back and forth thing when you're trying to make sure everything is airtight, because you're not going to be as hands on in other states that you would be here in Illinois.
Absolutely. And we see you moving all around the place, moving and shaking, networking and so forth. How do you compete with larger multi state operators?
Now, that's the hardest thing to do. As you guys know, multi state operators have 200,000, they have that square, biggest growth, a 200,000 square foot cultivation. So they also have their own vape products. They have their own pre-roll products. They have their own edible brands. And typically, the way that the laws are shaped here in Illinois, they can carry up to a certain percentage of their own brand, and then a certain percentage of other brands. And what multi-state operators do is they just trade between each other. They're not big fans of carrying the smaller brands, which makes it difficult. What makes it harder than anything is the price comparison. Multi-state operators will charge half the price just to for the same brand. And when you're talking about customers, money, and this economy, people sometimes go into dispensaries and they buy products based on cost. They want something that's cost efficient. And so they don't have the cost that we share because they own their own cultivation. Opposed to us, we have to outsource our biomass, which increases the cost of our product. And so that it makes it harder for us because then we'll hear some dispensaries saying, "Hey, well, your vape costs this, but I can get it from this company for a fraction of that cost." And I have to explain to them, "Well, we're a smaller brand, and we don't have the financial backing that these bigger brands have. We're a smaller brand who actually is committed to supporting the follow through of our brand. We commit to doing pop ups at your location. We commit to doing bud tender off-site education called Best Bud Tender, and introduce brands to them. And we have to pretty much sell ourselves to the dispensary based on our price difference. MSOs intentionally lower the cost of their prices so people will buy their products versus buying new innovative products in the state of Illinois."
Now, you just touched on something that we wanted to ask you about because you got entrepreneurs out there who aspire to, get to the level that you've reached and with products and so forth. What are some of the challenges of getting your products in dispensaries?
Well, them responding. um, So here's the thing. I understand both sides of the cannabis industry as I have opened a dispensary here in Illinois. So I do know that people be extremely busy. It's a lot of work in retail, okay? So the challenges that I have is number one, I'm competing with the prices of the MSOs. I have to actually get a dispensary to take a meeting with me to even learn about my product. That's extremely difficult. You can send them email after email after email, and sometimes they're unresponsive. Some of the things that I do when people don't respond to emails is I participated, go out to different events, and those events allow you to meet those people and actually share with them, "Hey, my name is Victoria. This is the name of my product. It's called Wake and Take. We have a hard candy, and we're trying to get it on your shelf." And then attempting to utilize 20 seconds to pitch yourself and hoping to close that sale.
And we definitely been seeing you out there trying to meet people and move and shake throughout the industry. And the cannabis industry is heavily regulated. What compliance challenges have you faced so far, if any?
Compliance is constant.
Yeah,
Packaging, testing, labeling, metric tracking, transport regulations. The challenge is that the rules evolve
but have
and
you
the
ever
margin for
experienced
error
any
is
like
small.
my bad. Have you ever experienced any audits, inspections, or things that made your product have a setback or anything like that?
Oh no. So because I am a responsible vendor, and I'm real big on compliance. You have to treat compliance like a business partner. That you have to know. We are this particular facility. We get inspected like randomly every week, and no, our numbers match. There's a system that I think that most brands follow as it relates to compliance. So we don't typically have compliant issues. We do inventory. We make sure everything that we're doing meets the state regulations. So nothing regarding state or compliance has set this brand back.
So, with that said, what systems do you have in play to kind of ensure product safety and testing standards?
Documentation, transparency, and staying protective. It all makes a difference. So let's just say, for example, by the end of your shift. we actually, at the end of our shifts, we actually count inventory. We have a system in place that if there's certain tape or tags, we know that this product has never been opened and there's this many units in that particular bin, which makes it easier to count for inventory. That's one of the most important things, making sure we also accept inventory back into metrics. So let's just say a product was rejected at a dispensary and we have to bring it back into the facility, then making sure we actually put that inventory back into the system so that our counts won't be off in the vault. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's
Staying
a lot. It's a
organized.
lot.
It seemed like a lot for sure, but we got to go through these lengths when we're dealing with products, and the people who are on the forefront in Illinois right now got to make sure that they keeping everything tight for the people of tomorrow, pretty much. Now,
Pretty much. That's the point. My journey in cannabis really didn't come from seeing both. It really came from seeing both the opportunity and the lack of representation. I didn't see many black women owning brands, manufacturing products, or leading in this space. I wanted to build something that wasn't about selling cannabis, but about creating a brand rooted in wellness, intention, and community. So Wake and Vape was born out of that desire to create something premium, to create something meaningful. It's like, yeah, we have some women in this space, women of color, who I actually admire. Edie Moore being one of those women who owns Sway Dispensary. I speak very highly of her because she was pretty much one of the blueprints. She received one of the first medical licenses. So those things matter. And when you don't see many of us in this space, we have to be the change that we want to see in the world.
absolutely. What you reading down there? I keep seeing you go.
It's this machine down here. I'm trying to figure out what it actually is. So I don't know if I can show it to you or not, but
Uh,
it's actually a machine. I was trying to, because it wasn't here yesterday, so I'm like, what is this? I'm down here looking at it and talking to you.
yeah, I'm like, what's she over
And
there
now my
looking?
hands feels
What she got going on?
no, because it's literally right here, and then it's something else like right under here. So it's like when people bring stuff in, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. What is it? So I'm kind of being nosy too, since I just got in here.
Now I want to get into some business questions though. You know, what strategies have helped you scale distribution across Illinois so far?
Slow and steady. Slow and steady. It seemed like people wanted to race to the bottom in Illinois instead of growing your product slow and steady. And when I say that, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It was never my goal to get in every dispensary in the state of Illinois. My goal was to get in a certain number of dispensary and make sure I provide quality customer service to those number of dispensaries that my product was in. And I wanted to slowly build out. So in my business plan, I had initially wanted to launch in 10 dispensaries. That was my plan. But I ended up in 13 dispensary because one dispensary had 6 stores. And so that's how it expanded into 30 on the launch date. Remember we did that interview in Calumet City
Oh
2 years
yeah,
ago
yeah, nah,
on
that
Juneteenth?
was when I
So
first met
so
you.
that was yeah, and so the goal was to be intentional. So we start with those 13 stores and we make sure we have enough brand presence that they know who we are. Because some bud tenders never see the product that's in the vault. So they don't know what brand you have or anything to actually boost the sales and getting to know the bud tenders. And so scaling up the business, I slowly increased the amount of stores that we got product in. And then I thought my goal was supposed to be in 75 stores, but we ended up in 90 stores because, like I said, some companies have 10 stores, but some of them have 4 stores. And so it threw
Exactly.
the number off. And so, but with my product SKUs, I started with 3 SKUs. I did not start with 10 SKUs because that's a lot to keep up with as it relates to production, as it relates to supplies, as it relates to cost, to transportation, and the sell through. So I started with 3 SKUs of Juneteenth for the culture, 2024. And then, and by November of 2024, I added a limited edition SKUs, which was the coffee vape and the lemonade Lux vape,
Right.
which coffee, they both did really, really well. And so but you know that you cannot depend on 3 SKUs to sustain any company, so you have to have a plan to scale up, and so then in March of 2025 I launched the which was Wake and Puff. So we had a really good turnout with the Wake and Puffs. My our strands is Dirty Eagle, Keisha, and Wooga, which I really, really like what we did with that pre roll brand. And then Juneteenth, we came out with a mojito line of vapes. And everything we did threes. And so this is what that packaging looked like for that mojito line. And like you may have seen it. And we did something really cool with the mojito vapes. We put cash in the actual boxes. So people had no idea that it was, I didn't want to say Willy Wonka because I don't want nobody to sue me, but it was like similar to that because there was a golden ticket in a box. So one box out of the whole production had $100 bill in it. 2 boxes had $50 bills in it. 6 boxes had $20 bills in it. 10 boxes had $10 bills in it. 10 boxes had $5, and they was random. So the stores didn't know which one, what had the money in it. And then we had these little tickets that was inside one, and we put like maybe $300 ones. They was all dollars, and it was stapled to a card, and it said, "Sorry, you're not a winner, but here's $1 back. Thank you for supporting this brand." And nobody knew that they were getting this cash back. So it was real fun with the Mojito line. And it was launched on our anniversary,
Is that still
which is
active right now?
Juneteenth 2020. Huh?
Is that still active right now?
Yeah, yeah. If you go into any dispensaries that have these particular vapes, there's a chance that it's cash inside those vapes,
Y'all heard
because
that.
most of them had them. And, um, and so that was Juneteenth, and then um, here we are in February, and we now have hard candy, Jolly Ranchers,
Now take us
and
back a
we're
bit.
calling those Wake and Take.
I seen that. I'm like, hold on. Is that a different whole different ordeal going on? Wake and take now. Okay, now I want to know. This is a two-part question. What product so far have that you've launched is like doing crazy, just the top seller, and then give us like the area or areas that it kind of sells the most in.
Um, to be honest with you, pre rolls. Our pre rolls do the most and sell the most. I think it's because of the margins for the dispensaries and a cost point for consumers. Consumers come in and say, "Whoa, Mr. Green has a few dispensaries down south: Lincoln, Decatur, Bellevue, and Mount Olive, I believe." I hope I'm not saying that wrong, but they have 4 dispensaries. And when I launched the Wake and Puff pre rolls, they were selling them 3 for 25s, and it was like a super nice marketing campaign that they put together where they was ordering like maybe 500 of each um, unit and putting them in each store. And they was selling them 3 for 25. It made me think about how y'all used to sell dime bags back in the streets, not me. But back in the day when they was like, "Hey, I got 3 for 25, 3 for 25." So some other dispensaries started picking up on really cool marketing tools. Hey, buy a vape, get a pre roll for a penny. They was having like all of these conversations about marketing them because the price point was really good on them. So that's it. These are the Wake and Take. They just launched February 1st, so they're
Hold
not
on,
in
before we go
all.
there, who if I can ask, who makes the flour? Who grows it for the pre rolls? Where do you source
We
it?
source our flour. We source our flowers through a couple of different cultivators.
Any you can disclose and let us know who that is?
I don't know. I can't do
I
that.
tried, y'all. I tried.
I really want to keep that, until they give me, if they give me permission to disclose who they are, then I will disclose it. But I like to try to keep certain things when it comes to confidentiality. Try not to disclose things. Some people sign non-disclosure, some don't. But I wait until if it's okay with them, I will say their name or their brand.
So tell us a little bit more about Wake and Take. What was the inspiration and the vision behind that, and where are we with it now? How many dispensaries has that product?
All right. So the thing with Wake and Tape, I want to keep this product as an exclusive luxury line. So our goal is only to be carried in 25 dispensaries across the state. And we want to heavily promote those first 25 dispensaries for the first quarter.
Mm.
And then we will open it up. Our products is actually on Leaf Trade right now. So dispensaries can go on and place orders for it. But our goal is we want to be very intentional about the support that we give. And this is a really good product. It's not just a hard candy, it's a hard candy that tastes good. It's a hard candy that's nano infused, One of the things I dislike about edibles, because I'm a person that has never been a big fan of edibles, is the fact that the onset, it can take from 30 minutes up to 2 hours until you feel that edible kick in. And 2 hours later, I could have been forgot about the edible and then be like, oh shit, excuse my language. It hit me, you know? And I don't like being caught off guard. So one of the things about our wake and take product is it is actually nano infused, and so you have a faster onset, and you're not worried about being caught off guard once it actually kick in.
And
Um,
that's dope. That's dope. A question that we've
that's
asked people, especially people who deal in either vapes or edibles and things like that, is what do you think customers, they sometimes, like you said, the onset kind of takes too long sometimes, or sometimes people complain about it being too fast and intense. You know, how do you and your products help regulate that and educate people in that area?
Well, the first thing is we have it really in bold print that this product is nano infused. And when you educating people, you want to tell them what does infused mean? It means there's going to be a faster onset. That gives the consumer the option to choose. Do you want something that's going to come on fast, or do you prefer something else? I think consumers right now are looking for something that's cost effective, groceries being extremely high, property taxes being high. They want to come in and they want the best bang for their buck. So just giving them the best bang for their buck and it's good. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need that again. And that's how you create continuing consumers, regular customers that becomes loyal to your brand by making not just a pretty product, but a pretty product that's good and consistent and giving you what you're looking for and it's cost effective.
Absolutely. And then besides the warning labels and labels on packages, what measures do you take in your team to go out and educate people just overall on the product?
So first things first, most of the time we do education before we actually deliver the product to the store. Now, if there's no education available on the store's time, then when we come after we put product in the store, we give 48 hours. We want to set up a pop up in store. And so part of that pop up, we spend the first 20 to 30 minutes of that pop up introducing ourselves to the bud tenders, giving the bud tenders some swag, stickers, lanyards, t shirts, hats, whatever we have on hand, and then actually giving them an info sheet so they can have some education regarding the product, and then we bring them lunch. And if we don't bring lunch, we bring snacks for their break room. So I'll get like a case of pop, a case of chips, a case of water, And then, like them little multi variety snack packs, we bring them snacks. Because again, people really remember how you make them feel. And it's not like, when you buy lunch, that's a one off, right? And the only people that receive the lunch is the people who are at work during that time that you show up. But when I buy break room snacks, every shift they had a chance to try these snacks because they get a case of everything. And so they remember the brand by that. We go out there, and within 48 hours of us delivering product, we make sure we have a schedule to do a pop up there, and then we make sure we're doing pop ups every month so they can consistently see the brand.
And in those pop ups, again, you giving them literature and things pertaining to the product and how to explain it just to customers who come in and so forth. So that's good. But let's pivot a little bit over to mentorship. What advice would you give like a new entrepreneur who's trying to navigate on the legal side of things, who may be on the fence or still in the legacy land or just trying to make it throughout the industry?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking that question. Honestly, it's so many people out here that do not operate with integrity. So if you are a new person, don't cling on to those popular names. Cling on to people who have actually done the work. Because someone can't tell you how to put a product in a store if they never put a product in a store. Does that
Right.
make sense?
It
Or
definitely
someone
does.
can't tell you how to get a certain license if they never obtained that license. It is super important to do your research before giving money to anyone. And that's one of the biggest advice, and just educate yourself. It's great to be all in and betting on yourself, but you need to make sure it's not because this person is well known or this person knows this person. Oh, they got a bunch of followers. Don't pay attention to social media followers, because if that's to be honest, Wake and Vape, our first page was shut down. It had over 15,000 followers. Our new page, I think, got maybe 1,000. Don't pay attention to how many followers people have. Pay attention to the actual work, because there are a lot of loudmouth in this space that say, I did this, I did that, roar. And then you're like, oh, if you did it, then what you doing now? It's a lot of it's a lot of people that's doing a lot of talking and they ain't doing a lot of walking, and they can't back it up. So my advice to people in this space would be to do your research on a person before giving them money. Do your research on what they actually have really accomplished, and not just little headliners and fake awards, because awards be given to people that have only been advocates. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I appreciate all the cannabis advocates, because advocates do not get paid. But you want to capitalize off of a brand, or you want to capitalize or turn your dirty money clean. You want to make sure you're investing in a company that's clean, that company that has a blueprint and that's actually doing things that you can actually see. Can you go in a dispensary right now and buy that person product? If not, they not the one. They can't help you get to that next level. And that's really important, because a lot of people in this industry, they didn't get a fair shot. They got connected to the wrong people, and I've connected people with some of the wrong people before too, not knowing that them people did not operate with integrity. And so now you live and you learn as you go.
Now, it seemed like you've learned a lot of great lessons in this time on your journey. What would you say is the top three lessons that really shifted the way you do business?
Whoo. All right. Paperwork. Um, being paid up front. Let's see. It's I've learned some very tough lessons in this industry.
We want to know
One I
about them.
learned last year. Okay, it was heartbreaking. Okay, I I many years ago, I paid for somebody to actually take an infusion course.